You can grow flowers all throughout the year. There are flowers that will overwinter, and you can get earlier harvest of them as well. Lachelle, do you have anything? I know you're a flower grower. Do you have anything coming out of protected production right now?
Low tunnel, we planted 7,000 tulips last fall.
7,000 tulips in low tunnels?
Yeah, I've got part of them. They're all laid out according to when they'll bloom, and we're forcing our early ones.
Nice. Have you had any harvest yet from your tulips in there?
No.
Not yet. Okay. Right on. Cool. Thank you. I know some people grow ranunculus and anemones and things like that early as well. But you can also do some sort of vegetable and flowers in a tunnel. There can be thrips crossover between Western flower thrips is a pest of tomatoes as well. So one thing to consider, but otherwise there's not really a reason you can't do that. All right. So tomato production, most common. Here's some determinate cultivars. I know a lot of Amish producers in the state are going with red deuce, and a lot of and many non-Amish are following that lead and going with red deuce. It's a very productive one. But these are some other varieties of determinate cultivars. Some indeterminates. You got big beef. All these ones, these all work. I know a lot of growers will also go with some of these are not specific greenhouse varieties, and you might look in the catalogs because I think there are some newer ones that have come out in the more recent years, particularly these heirlooms that are listed here, such as Cherokee Purple and Brandywine. There are ones that the fruit look exactly like those, but they are what's called high looms. They're like hybrid heirloom, and they are bred for greenhouse production, and you'll get much more yield off of these things, and they will look the same as an heirloom, even though they're not that one. So I think instead of Cherokee Purple, you would grow the variety Marnero, and that one looks the same as Cherokee Purple, but you get 3 times as much fruit from it, and the customer doesn't know any different, honestly. They also have less cracking. They're less susceptible to cracking, which heirlooms are very susceptible to. And a red one that a lot of people are growing, an indeterminate in the greenhouse, is Geronimo, which is bred for greenhouse production. But there's new ones coming out all the time, and different disease resistance that they need, because you don't get late blight in the high tunnel like you might or early blight like you might outside, but you do get verticillium wilt, and you do get leaf molds and things like that that are different from stale air and things like that. Sorry, Tanya, how am I doing? 5. Okay. Colored bell pepper production as well is common in tunnels. Like I mentioned, with the stems getting longer, it's more common to see trellised tomato or peppers in the tunnel, because they will flop over because they get taller. So you can see here they've got a trellis post at each corner, and then just sort of a belt around them. I additionally like to put an X in between to allow for them to support, because sometimes they can just all flop to the outside and leave a big trough in the middle. But if you put an X between the posts as well, it does hold them all internally a little bit better in a tunnel. Here's a couple of varieties. Red Knight is one of my favorite for red, blocky, 4-lobe bell pepper. Here's some yellows, Flavor Burst, Summer Sweet, Sirius. Delirio. There's another one that I've heard a lot of hype about, Oranos. I have shied away from Oranos in the past because I've gotten sticker shock. I've been like, wow, that pepper is $1.25 a seed, and that seems like a lot. But honestly, that's if you get a package of if your pepper plant is producing, say, 1 more pepper, then you've covered your seed cost right there pretty much. And so I think that balking at paying for good genetics on seed varieties is, I think you can shoot yourself in the foot that way. So if you can grow it, if you grow peppers well, I would not balk at paying the more for those peppers. But I do know a lot of growers who like Oranos as an orange. Here's tequila, which is a different, some different colors here. This one I believe is a purple. This looks like purple to red, or maybe there's. I've not actually grown tequila. I know there's one called Islander that is a purple that goes to white, and I just saw in the catalog. I believe it was the Johnny's catalog this year. There's one that goes green to purple this year. I've not grown it yet, but different colored peppers. We talked about cucumber production a little bit already. Lettuce production, a lot of people have transitioned away from growing salad mixes to growing salanova or single cut salad heads. Easy leaf is another type where it looks like a lettuce head, but you cut it and it's just a bunch of different leaves that fall apart into a salad mix. You can get a lot more yield in poundage with that product rather than a direct seeded salad mix. But head lettuce is also very, very attractive to customers. Especially, you can in a high tunnel get salad here until Christmas, and so you can, you take your tomatoes out in October, plant that salad right away. It's better to get your tomatoes out in September, but you get that lettuce planted right away, and then you've got another crop that you can harvest all that lettuce and get it in the cooler and sell some in December and keep, it'll keep for a few weeks. So you could peter that out a little bit, and then you can plant it again in February and have a lettuce crop before you want to plant your tomatoes in that tunnel. Oh, here's some reliable varieties here. Pak choy. Anyway, you can grow lots and definitely increase your profitability by going beyond just tomatoes. All right, thank you very much.
We've got time for questions.
Oh yeah, questions. What questions do you have? Yeah, thank you.
Could you address like salinization of salt water?
Oh yeah, so the question is for me to address salt buildup in soils. And this is a problem in high tunnels, that as you add fertilizer, including compost, a lot of people are just like, oh, more compost is better, compost is the answer to everything. And it is at first, but the crops, compost is like a very balanced, like N, P, and K are very balanced, but the crops use a lot more nitrogen than P and K, and so P and K can build up. In addition, there's not rainfall in the tunnel, and irrigation water in the Midwest generally is very alkaline, and so we end up with alkalinity buildup, and compost will do this too. Nutrient salts will cause this, but you get your pH creeping upwards over the years, and so at about year 5, you start to see some changes after building a tunnel. Year 10 is when things really tank. And so people often will just like, oh, they didn't grow well, I gave up. So it's important to really do soil tests, and a saturated media analysis which is like a greenhouse test to see what is building up in your soils more than a typical soil test. That can tell that sort of that information, and generally speaking, though, there are some rules of thumb as far as irrigation to prevent the alkalinity buildup from hard water, and that is injecting citric acid or sulfuric acid into your irrigation water can maintain the pH lower. But as far as adding the nutrients that the plants need, that should be done really consciously according to a soil test, rather than just more compost, because you can end up with toxic levels of P and K. Yeah. All right. Yeah, last one. We'll make it quick.
So as a novice, how do I keep track of the new varieties coming out, or know what variety is best for my practices of my soil?
As a novice, how do I keep track of new varieties to know what's best for me and my soils? I geek out on that stuff, and I'd like to buy a little bit of everything, but talking to other growers to find out what they're successful with, and if you see something new and it sounds promising, give it a shot. Buy a packet of it and try a little trial of it is always, because you're right. Everybody's farm is different, and so something that's successful for one person is not always for you. Maybe it's getting some spare transplants from a farmer friend or something like that. They've got, I've got 5 extras, here you go. Building relationships. the hard work.
Emailing you?
Yeah, chat with me, email me. Talk to me over there. Also, yep. Thank you.